Binta Ture, who is a communications specialist. Binta, good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
And last but not the least, Umar Sabali, who is a senior manager, performance audit. Mr. Sabali.
Thank you very much, Ali.
Well, during this 1 hour program, we'll be looking at, of course, we'll give you the background as to how NAO came about, its mandate and other issues, but also understanding when you talk about audit and all that it comes with, but of course, engagement with stakeholders and of course, the challenges, as you know, I mean, it's inevitable. I mean, in every institution, there are challenges that the work comes with. And just to start with, I will start with Binta and of course, Mr. Drame. I mean, when you talk about the National Audit Office, take us through how did it all came about, of course, looking at the mandate and of course, the functions of the Auditor General.
Okay, thank you very much, Aliu. I will start off and then Mr. Drame would contribute as well. So once again, we are happy to be on this platform, like you rightly said, to interact with the Gambian citizens about the work that the National Audit Office does. This, like you said, it's part of efforts to further sensitize the citizens so they know much about their Supreme Audit institution. The National Audit Office is a public institution established by the Constitution of the country. In the 1997 Constitution, when you look at sections 158, 159, and 160, it talks in detail about the establishment of the office and also its head, who is the Auditor General. So as you would know, when you relate with some of our audit reports, you will hear it being mentioned, Auditor General's report. So that in essence is telling you the Auditor General is the position that is mandated by the Constitution to carry out audit of public institutions. Now, this audit is basically to give assurance. The audit, if one might want to put it into perspective, why is the National Audit Office important? Because as we all know, our legislature, which is the National Assembly, they allocate the budget for the country amongst these public institutions. So as part of the accountability cycle, it is important that audit is being conducted on these accounts, but also on the effective, the economy and the efficiency in the use of these public resources. And that is how the work of the Auditor General comes in. So in the Constitution, it mandates the Auditor General at least once every year to conduct audit on these on the accounts of these public institutions and report to the National Assembly for discussion. And in that report, it should be highlighting any irregularities that are found in these institutions. But it also went further because at the end of the day, these public resources are for the Gambian people. To say that after the discussion of these audit reports, the audit report should be published. So in essence, and in summary, like I said, detailed of the mandate and also the function is in the Constitution. Because of time constraint, we would want to dilate more, but just in summary to say, it is an institution that is mandated to audit and report on the use of the public institutions. That's why if you look at our mission, it is to deliver independent professional audit service for the people of the Gambia on the economy, the efficient and the effective use of public resources.
Very important. I mean, I quite acknowledge the work that your office does. I mean, most of the institutions, when it comes to end of the financial year, I mean, you see them running hell and scared, try to bring in documents in place to say, you know, auditors are coming. I mean, you always give this institution tough time as far as the auditing is concerned because they want to know everything. Oh, how did you move this from here to here? Give us the proofs and all those things. But Mr. Drame, just even to elaborate further to what Binta just said regarding the mandate and, of course, the functions of the Auditor General.
Thank you. He has elaborated.
Your mic. You can use your mic.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Thank you very much. Binta has dealt with the topic sufficiently. What I would just want to add that is that the National Audit Office also is like any other institution. It has a governance structure. Okay. We are not just left alone like people would expect. There is an arm that oversees what the National Audit Office does and what the AG does. The NAO Act 2015 establishes from section 5 to 10, establishes and gives the functions of the board. The board is the body that is responsible for overseeing the NAO. It is the body that is mandated and charged with governance issues. As I said, from sections 5 to 10, sections 10, it has given the constitution how the board should be constituted. The Auditor General is the chairperson of the board, but you also have other members. The chairperson of the Public Service Commission is a member. You have representatives from the Gambia Bar Association. You have a representative from the Association of Chartered Accountants here, you call JICA. You have a representative from the, should I call it, a seasoned economist, a retired seasoned economist.
Okay.
Why I said retired, because we are always conscious of the independence of the institution. It couldn't be a practicing some economist who you might audit in the time during this thing.
So it's like you cannot be a player and a referee at the same time.
No.
Yeah, okay.
So you see, the chairperson of the PSC is a retired.
Yes.
So a nominee of the Gambia Bar Association, they choose, and as I said, the professional accounting body too. These are the people that are responsible for overseeing the activities of the NAO. So the Auditor General doesn't have that, should I call it, full independence to do whatever he wills, because there is a body that is charged with governance issues for that institution. That's what I wanted to add.
Quite interesting. Let me now bring in, Sering Mas and Sabali here. When you talk about audit, what is an audit and why is public sector auditing important?
Thank you very much, Agu. Before I go into your question, I just wanted to emphasize the oversight responsibility that is being also performed on the National Audit Office. The National Assembly is the one that identify auditors for the National Audit Office. We do not even involve in the process. They identify auditors for us and they audit and report back to the National Assembly. In addition to that, we are also members of Africa Organization of Supreme Audit Institution. And these regional body, they also do an oversight. Every 2 years they come and audit how we do our work, not only where the finances were spent, but really this oversight is more of how we perform our work. Now, coming back to your question, audit is a systematic process of objectively obtaining information so as to evaluate that information that you have received, whether it have conformed to the set criteria. These criteria could be various. It could be the financial reporting framework. It could be the rules. It could be the laws and regulations guiding a particular institution. Its importance cannot be overemphasized because our work, we are primary aiders to the National Assembly. Without us providing reports audit reports to the National Assembly, it will be difficult for them to perform accountability, oversight, on public institutions. So our institution have a long-standing relationship with the National Assembly because we are primary aiders to the National Assembly because the mandate assign us to do audit. And once we do our audit, we report back to the National Assembly for them to also able to perform their oversight. We do not only stop at submitting this report, but we also serve as technical arm of the National Assembly as far as audit reports are concerned. So, to cut it short, this is what audit is and the significance of audit as well.
Mr. Sabali, is there anything you would like to add to what Mr. Jallo just mentioned?
Really, he has set the stage for a better understanding of what it stands for and what it means. Basically, maybe to take it a little bit further, audits has different phases and different types. Currently, we are doing maybe financial audits. We're also doing compliance audit, but we're also doing performance audit. To take it a little bit further, these type of audits, all of them are within the mandate of the Auditor General. There's no audit you could do that is not sanctioned by the Auditor General. This is coming from his powers, like Alaji rightly put it. But also we rely on other international standards, like Sering Mas says. The NAO does not operate in a vacuum. We also relate with sister institutions that are into audit like us. So essentially is to enhance and then nurture the transparency and accountability of public institutions. Every institutions in the country, government, for example, are given some token, or maybe in the budget, if you like, to carry out certain responsibilities. So wherever the state dollars go, we are entitled to go and follow and then see what they are doing with that state dollars. And in fact, that envelope of responsibilities, together with that state dollars that are given to you, would only those responsibilities, we're not only concerned with the dollars that is given to you, but what about those responsibilities that you are supposed to carry out to satisfy the needs of the people that you are representing? So I don't know if we can take it a little bit further and look at those type of audits, but this is it.
Yes, why not?
Yeah.
You can proceed.
Yeah.
Tell us the
Yeah.
type of audits. That
Yeah,
you
exactly. Like I said, these are, for now, we are doing these three type of audits. That is the financial, the compliance, but also the performance audit. I will err at the side of the performance audits where I am coming from.
Okay.
But as an office, we'll put it that way, where we are doing. This is the newest form of audits in the region. We are trying to build it up. Other colleague size has gone a little bit further than that, but then in the Gambia here, we are trying to set it up. It would not be different from the definition Serimbas gave you. It would still be that independent, objective, and reliable examination of whether state institutions are operating in a manner that helps to achieve, that are in line or in accordance with the 3 E's, that is the economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. I will underline those words as I go along. The economy, the efficiency, and the effectiveness. When you talk about, what do we mean when we talk about the economy, economical operation of institutions? That is that state dollars you are giving to, or those states funds that you are giving to buy resources. These resources should be at their fair prices, but they should be available in their right quality and quantity. So that is the input into an activity. But if you take it a little bit further, you're talking about the effectiveness. Now the question is, wherever you go in this country, you will ask, what are you doing? Then the first question that comes to your table, or the first answer that comes to your table is, we do not have enough resources. But resources will never be enough. But the question is, what do you do with that little amount?
Exactly.
Yes, what do you do with that little amount that is given to you to achieve this objective, why an institution is being put in place? Now the third E is the effectiveness. These problems, we live with them in the society. These responsibilities are given to you to solve or to solve these problems that may emerge from the system. So the efficiency part is looking at whether we are able to solve that problems that exists at a particular environment over a given period of time.
So as the staff of the National Audit Office, I mean, you've heard him talk about the different types of audit that your office carried out. I mean, earlier on you said, I mean, sometimes you delegate other auditing firms to carry out certain auditing on behalf of the NAO. What is responsible? Is it that because the NAO is not well equipped, or you are understaffed, or what?
Thank you, Agu. Before coming to a correction, I just want to briefly highlight those 3 audits that Omar have mentioned, the definition of the financial as well as the compliant. The financial is basically us expressing an opinion whether the financial statement being prepared is in accordance with the reporting framework that is being adopted by the particular institution. And then when it comes to compliance, it's basically looking at whether rules or laws and regulations has been abided by in carrying out, in executing whatever that institution has been mandated to do. So coming to your question, the issue of us outsourcing our work to the private audit firms, you would agree that the National Audit Office is evolving from since its establishment. And to date, like before, we used to be housed at the in Banjul in a small office where we have less than 50 people, less than 50 people to audit the whole Gambia. Audit the whole Gambia in the sense that our mandate is very wide. We audit almost everything. Because even where government have a minority interest, we are required to go and audit that particular institution. So in doing so, you need the people. But like I said, where we are coming from, today at least we can say we have more than 100 people, 150 people or more. So at least we have been coming from a very infant stage to a level that we are able to stand on our feet. As we speak, we still outsource some of our audits. However, we have also plans to take over some of these audits, and we have already taken some of these audits as well. But key among them, among those strategies, that is why we have tried to establish a unit called the State-Owned Enterprise Unit, Forensic, etc. That unit is specifically coming in to ensure that these state enterprises that are being established by the government are audited by the National Audit Office. How do we do that is to ensure that we have the required people, the required human resources to ensure that we're able to do these audits. So yes, we still outsource, but we are in the verge of trying to ensure that we also take over some of these audits. And even some of the audits that we still outsource, now what we try to do is to have a control or have an input, to those type of audits. Previously, we would just identify auditors and then that's the end. We are not involved from the planning to audit. We are not involved at each stage of the audit. It's just identifying the auditors for the particular institution. However, recently we have developed an outsource policy. The idea of developing that outsource policy is to ensure that at least we also become part of the process, so as the report to take ownership of the report. The idea is at some point these reports would be signed by the Auditor General or his representative, not the audit firms. Yes, they can do the work on behalf of the Auditor General, but somebody from the office need to ensure that these reports are signed off by the Auditor General. And how do we do that is being involved in the process as well. In these strategies, we have also tried to have the quality assurance unit in place, although it's at an infant stage, but we have already started some work through support of some donors, the World Bank, etc. This unit is already established, and we have already started doing work with some of these audit firms as well. So really, this is the idea that we are currently working on as far as outsourcing is concerned.
Interesting. Well,
before you come, can I jump in there?
Yes.
Because it's like when you talk about outsource, we jealously guard this little baby that we are developing, that is performance audit. Performance audit does not seek to tell you the true and fair view of a financial statement. We are concerned with service delivery. How best are people benefiting from state national care given to people to execute? So, for example, currently, if you look at it, we are open to the environment. We look at the environment face to face. That is what is happening in our societies. What is the Auditor General's response? But take it further. What is the state's responsibility in some of these happenings? A case in point, for example. Somewhere in 2018, WAS results, the education, the education sector, the WAS results were going down. And then we are saying now, what is happening? Is it the case that is it the issue of budget? Is it about teachers? Is it about the learning environment? Is it about monitoring? So
is it about the curriculum?
Exactly. So the Auditor General get concerned, and then we quickly rush to see what is happening. There is a report on that I think it's sitting in the website. But currently, of the recent ones we have dealt with are the cargo handling. Complaints comes, the Auditor General listens very carefully to the people outside, but based on his mandates of what he can do, because he looks at everything in a way that is within the state's budget, for example. The complaint was most of our goods get delayed at the ports. The port is congested. So what sits in the public domain is people are not getting their goods on time. What is happening at the ports? Then we rush there to try to see what is happening within the port system, and then we come back and report to the Auditor General. But also look at NAVEC, water shortages, electricity issues. So all these are within the purview of the Auditor General. But also look at now, mental health, of course, is in the pipeline coming. Look at that man sitting at the corner of the street, and then is somebody walking the street barefooted. What is happening? What is going? Of course, what a problem has, some of these problems that are happening in our society are very big, and they are societal problems. Part of it would be a natural component out of the whole problem. But what the Auditor General can do is what is the state responsibility, or what is the government responsibility in protecting or sealing, providing a shield between the person and then the general public against those hazards. Last year, I was following this news. You're talking about flood happening everywhere. It's a natural occurrence. Water comes from the sky. Something somewhere is responsible of that, not the Auditor General. But what the Auditor General want to see, what is the state responsibility in preventing and protecting, or the state preparedness in protecting people away from those waters coming into the compound in the form of flood. So we've done, for now, we have done about 13 performance audit report. I will employ you to be going to the website and see what is happening there. There are a lot of them. We're talking about waste management, electricity supply. We're talking about mental health now. Farm input, for example, agriculture is going down. And then the concern is what is happening in the agricultural sector. You see, a whole lot of things are happening around us that the Auditor General is now interested to build, and that will come through us as the performance audit.
Yes, exactly, Binta. I will allow you to come in. Like you said, I mean, the NAO is becoming more visible, and I think people are taking the office more serious because, I mean, we often see the reports are published, you know, for the public to know what is happening in all these institutions, and I think that is quite commendable. Well, viewers, if you are watching this program and you will want to be you know, of course, share with us your questions, observations, and comments as to the work of the National Audit Office. You can call on the numbers you are seeing on your screens to be part of this program. And the control room, you can display the numbers for our viewers who are watching and will want to ask a question or share their views about the work of the NAO. They can call on the numbers you are seeing on your screen, 5050505 and 3333294 to be part of the program. Yes, Binta?
No, it was just a quick one in the use of the term performance audit. Yeah. Just so also something that people relate to or sometimes is the value for money. Just to state that is the other term that one could use. So maybe if you hear value for money audits is actually talking about performance audit, which, like he mentioned, is looking at these 3 E's of economy, efficiency, and effectiveness. That's just what I wanted to add from my point of communication.
I think that is a good point. If you stepped out from the borders, you're in Nigeria or Ghana, then you see somebody is telling you value for money audit, then you're looking for what do you mean? It's the same performance audit. It always takes into consideration not only the true and fair, but also what do you do with that state fund so that you are able to satisfy the need of the people. So this is why you call it the activities you are taking part in terms of procurement, in terms of delivery. Are you optimizing the dollars that you are giving? Right.
Let me now bring in Mr. Drame here. I mean, you can use the mic. I mean, anytime when I read audit reports, I mean, especially in Parliament, I'm sure you know you are always represented when they are facing these parliamentary committees. I mean, you will see a line that says it is the opinion of the auditors that this particular institution had complied or had done this and that. How do you read that opinion? People say, these are just opinions. This is just their opinion. It's not facts.
Thank you very much. What you're saying is actually something that we hear very often. To us, as professionals in what we do, when we issue an opinion, you should not kind of use the literal meaning, the dictionary meaning of an opinion. You can have several opinions, literally. But once it is an audit opinion, it must have gone through a very rigorous and standardized process. What that means is, Aliu Cisse, who's not an auditor now, but if you were an auditor, you did not participate in that audit. I have taken a process and reached to an opinion. An independent person that has not taken part can go through those same processes and arrive at the same opinion that
Mr. Drame, I understand we have a caller. Let me just pick that caller and then I'll come back. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I wanted to ask a question. I have the African time. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I overheard, if I get it right, please put me through. The guy sitting next to the lady, I think Binta,
yes.
I forget his name when
Sabali.
he was presenting.
Yeah.
Sabali, thank you. I overheard him saying, you know, they also audit NAWEC and other institutions.
Okay.
My question is,
Yes.
Sabali,
Yes.
My
Go ahead.
question is, I don't know what is the reason responsible why Jara is still outdated with no electricity over since Jawara's decade up to now.
Okay.
All right. That's your question, right?
Please.
All right. Thank you so much.
Jara is placed since Jawara's regime up to now. Did they know the reason? Did now tell them the reason why they are left out without electricity, please?
Thank you so much. I know someone watching this program who knows me very well will be asking, oh, I hope it's not Ali who sent that guy, because I come from Jara East. So, yes. You can respond, then Mr. Drame will continue. Or you allow Mr. Drame to finish his point, and then you can respond. Yes.
What I just wanted to say is that our opinion is should not be mistaken with our audit opinion. An audit opinion should not be mistaken with the literal meaning of an opinion.
Okay.
For us, audits goes through a stringent and standardized process. So what that means is that you go through certain steps and processes up to where you will be at a point to make an opinion.
Okay.
That opinion you make must be professional and based on evidences. What that means is somebody else that was not involved at even at any stage can go through the same processes and arrive at the same conclusion that you have made.
Okay.
That's why sometimes I would say, for us auditors, we can only express two. Our opinions are only of two types. People have different terminologies they use. Some would use qualified, some would use unqualified, some use modified and unmodified. But there are only two types. When you come to the modified, you might have several subsections, but it's still under modified. Likewise, the unqualified. And I would remember what Binta said, and it's very important. Each profession has your own terminology.
Yes.
So, for example, when you talk to the man on the street and say, this is a qualified opinion, the man will say, okay, a qualified opinion seems to be very good. But in our own profession, a qualified opinion is not a good thing. So you see, as I said, each profession has your own terminologies thereon. So people should accept when we say it is our opinion, it is something that we have based on facts and evidences. So it is not a mere opinion.
So basically, the standards are the same.
Yes.
I mean, if you do your auditing and you reach at A,
right.
If I do the same audit, I should also reach at A.
You should, not just the auditor here in the Gambia, but elsewhere even in another country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just emphasize, as a Supreme
And then Mr. Sabal will respond to Jara East.
Yes. As a Supreme Audit institution, we are guided by the international standard of Supreme Audit institution.
Okay.
So we follow, like if you go to a private audit firm, they follow the international standards of auditing. But us, we follow the ESIs.
Okay.
And these ESIs, any professional in terms of accounting, who is an accountant, who is an auditor, the conclusion that Agaji is saying that if you do your audit in accordance with those standards, the conclusion that you're arriving at, any other auditor or any other accountant that does the audit should arrive at the same conclusion. Mind you, because we don't want to confuse it. If a journalist come and use the same standard, he might arrive at a different opinion.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes.
So this is a guided principle that you need to follow as an auditor to arrive at the conclusion. So that, because remember, like I said at the beginning, we are also reviewed by other institutions. Okay. I mean other regional bodies. So those regional bodies, what they do not come to see whether our payment vouchers have supporting document or no. But our work, the work that we do, is it in accordance with the standards? Because whatever we arrive at, they will try to do a test themselves to see whether they will arrive at the same conclusion or not. So that is why he emphasized any other accountant or auditor should arrive at the same conclusion as well.
So in the event that you audit someone and then the person feels like the outcome is not right, where does the person challenge? Can the person challenge it through your office? For example, you assign someone, a private auditing firm, to audit Mr. Drame, and Mr. Drame feel like, no, this is not right. Yeah,
like I said, we are the Supreme Audit Institution to audit all public institutions in the Gambia. And like we discussed, we outsource some of our audits to private audit firms. Okay. There are practical experiences that has happened, wherein an audit firm issues an opinion to that particular entity. The entity did not agree with the audit firm, What the audit firm, what the entity did was to write back to the Auditor General, because Auditor General is the one mandated to do the audit. And
I understand there's another caller on the line. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling us from? Mbejana kortande. Ito di ma aning ibe kiloro la mitole.
Yeah, Antonio Lamin Jana to Gunju.
Okay, Gunjur. Okay, Lamin.
Yeah. So I'm getting out of what Kiradan. You know, more of the thing I call Akadiamu coming for Kudimo Lakubo Dala, Tolo to go for another. Yeah, so Kujama Panko Kanyanako Adiamo Siata. Koya Kubo Fanaja Manela.
Yes, it
General Afro Taka, Komojama Jibe. I don't was here in a Banco and Science and Bucket. Yeah, I mean, didn't hold any marshal because here in a fan bucket. To a robot and a Jama Takan, Doga Saya, Kokodogo Bank and Alco Fanconole. So I'm very so cool for now, you know.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Abaraka Bake. Lamin, how to call it? Umar, I think you can now respond. I mean, you have heard from the first caller who mentioned about the issue of NAWEC, Jara East. 90% are still without electricity. Does that falls under your mandate? And also the second caller, Lamin from Gunjur, talks about drugs. I mean, exactly, and other issues as well.
Yes. Thank you very much, Ali Sise. Starting with NAWEC. NAWEC usually we audited them on a phase. For example, the supply of electricity within the greater Banjul area. But in our interaction during that process, it's like they would tell you we operate in phases. We do not reach out to the same country and the entire country at once. So perhaps Jara would be lucky, and maybe as they expand into the provinces for now. But as far as I know, because this is an audit that took place around 2016, 2017, thereabout, when we were more concerned about what is happening in the greater Banjul areas. Those times, if you remember, if you are within, you look at those NAWEC bulbs up and down. Then the Auditor General say, guys, what is happening in NAWEC? Can we go and see? But that is my answer to that is like NAWEC operate in phases. Perhaps Jara East would be lucky, perhaps as they expand into the regions, increasing their coverage. Because that's issue we also talked about. How do you, in the near future, reach out to the general public? Because it's a mandate, it's a requirement that they should do. And then coming to number 2, that is the drugs he's talking about. Drugs in what fashion? But if he's talking about these abuse of drugs, coups, and then the like, okay, perhaps maybe we will get to that. But what happened is like, Auditor Generals do not look at things in isolation. I said yesterday, if GRTS, if somebody, my grandfather in the province is there, sits down and cannot place a call clearly to somebody in Combo here, and then the Combo man can place a call elsewhere, then there's a problem. But where does the problem lies? Then we run what we call a sector screen, looking at the entire sector. A sector would be a group of institutions carrying out a specific function to meet or to satisfy a national need. So when you look at it, perhaps GRTS is unable to do A because of maybe there's a policy document sitting there, but also you're talking about they are being regulated by a ministry or maybe other state institutions that regulate them. But bring together all the QTV and then the postal services. These are all institutions within the communication sector. But look, when we go to the health sector, we've performed a lot of audits there. 2020, we were the darlings of Africa. We won the best prize in Africa in terms of performance audit. So this one was on obstetric care.
During the event which was held in the Gambia here.
Exactly. Right. So you can see where we are coming. So perhaps we will expand. If you talk about these drugs, like that's why I said drugs in what fashion, but you've qualified that, the course. But also there is an audit report on the storage and distribution of drugs by the central medical stores. But also there are also maybe audit reports that sit in the health sector. So we will get there. Perhaps we will widen our scope to look at some of these things.
Yes.
I just want to help Omar. I understand the point that the callers are coming from. As Mas has alluded to, our mandate is so wide. It's so wide. So at the end of every year or at the beginning of the following year, what we do is we come and we try to formulate a plan to say, here we are mandated to do this much. What can we do? We try to prioritize. As the issues they are saying, yes, we will be there. And I think we are even thinking of reaching a position where, even whilst we are doing those decisions, the general public will kind of play a role in deciding what topics of interest we would be auditing. And I think, as Omar said, we could not have done all these activities, but we do select. For example, now at NAWEC, we had started to say, at this point in time, this is the most important thing that we do. We may reach a point where we will consider JARA and other places to say, but as I said, we sit and try to prioritize on issues, the issues that we can do now and those that we can do later and so forth. So as he said, these are areas of concerns, the drug issue, health issues and other, but we must do them one by one. And then whilst we do that, I think at one point, everybody will feel that your issues have been...
So basically, when do you conduct this audit exercise? But as I understand, we still have backlog of cases. I mean, you go to National Assembly, you hear reports of 2020. Yes. I'm like, we're in 2024. For God's sake, what are we doing?
I'll come in then the backlog.
Exactly, and also, what are the institutions that you audit?
Yeah, we audit almost every government institution that is as established.
What about the private institutions? You don't?
No, we don't.
Okay,
we don't.
Right.
But if you ask me how do some of these audits evolve, like Alaji said, we are guided by a plan, a strategic plan, or then later on every year we look at it and then break it down to an operational plan. But like Gambia has so many sectors. The communication sector is there, you have the tourism sector, the agricultural sector. So it's like these are all open to us as performance auditors. For us, it does not have to be 1 year. We could get in and then audit anything at any time. Okay. Because it's about service delivery. Okay. So once told me, if you want to support a baby or a person to work very fast or maybe correctly, you do not want to wait until he is 15, 17 years, but help him as he grow with you so that he learn how to do some of this. A particular institution might not have a problem at the beginning, but you are concerned, service delivery. Then you go in at the beginning to guide them as to how, so that they do not, they are within the operational cycle. They are complying, kind of compliance audit coming in there. But it's all about what approach are you going to take.
And also how willing are they ready to cooperate with the auditors as well.
Yeah.
That also is a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Alu. In fact, you spoke about the issue of backlog audits. Indeed, we are faced with backlog audits. But indeed, it is not deliberate that we want to report in a backlog form. But this came up as a result of various factors.
I know.
Like I said, we are coming from a very infant stage, if you like, to where we are today. And the resources that you need to audit these public institutions. If you look at the number of institutions that you have in the Gambia, in fact, I cannot tell you how many, because the mandate said we should audit every public institution, including those that are of minority interest to the government, meaning it's a lot. So in doing that, how many people then do you need to ensure that you carry out those audits? Even, for example, the extraneous unit, you have over 30 institutions that you need to audit. But how many people do you have in that unit to ensure that you're able to audit all these institutions within the given time? Contributing factor to this is also the issue of receiving timely submission of financial statement. You have seen in the print media that the NAO have given a presser.
I understand there's a caller. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mamadou Diallo. I'm calling from Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire.
All right. Okay.
I just tuned in and I happened to see your program, and I think it's very interesting. And I don't have a question at this point, but I just want to make a contribution
All right.
to say that this program is very important and is very timely. And I think the NAO, the National Audit Office, going for this kind of sensitization programs is very important because it will shed light on the important role that they are playing, and increase the public's awareness about the importance of the work of the National Audit Office. Audit is very, very important, and the work that they do is difficult and challenging, but it's very important. I think the awareness or the sensitization will help clarify certain misconceptions or misunderstanding about some of the understanding of certain things. For example, one of the guys was explaining about what an audit opinion means, really. If somebody says, okay, it is just an opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, it is an opinion, but an audit opinion, it takes a lot of verification processes before you arrive at an opinion, which might not be the same as you saying something and I have an opinion about that, so it is very important, this program. So I just say keep it up, and then, congratulations to the team members and to the National Audit.
Thank you so much, Mod Jallow, caller there from Abidjan. Like he rightly mentioned, quite difficult work. I mean, sometimes when I read the audit reports and I see, some birds here and there, even from the highest office of the land, that shows that, it takes bravery and, stubbornness to really, bring out some of these irregularities in most of our government institutions. But I would just like to know, I mean, after you have done all these audits, where do you submit your reports? To who?
Our reports are, like we said, our reports are submitted to the National Assembly, who have that oversight responsibility to see that our recommendations are implemented. Not all our reports that we submit directly to the National Assembly. The public accounts of the Gambia, that is the government, the GOTG, that we submit. Other accounts we submit through, the different institutions who in turn submit this to the National Assembly, who would perform that oversight on those different institutions. So we as an institution, we are a reporting institution that mandated to audit and report to the National Assembly, who in turn then scrutinize the respective parties and come up with a recommendation.
It's interesting. Now, in this case, who hunt the hunter? Who audit National Audit Office?
That's really interesting.
Yes, any one of you?
Serin Mas has actually mentioned it earlier on in his deliberation.
Yes, you talk about having a board and everything, but who comes and said, okay, National Audit Office, now bring your this in, let's confirm. You're also giving...
Yes, we are also audited. Like we said, we are a public institution. Yes. So by that, by virtue of that, we are also under the scrutiny of the National Assembly. So they appoint auditors for us. Like Serin Mas mentioned, we don't even have a say in the appointment process. So they appoint from the private audit
even pay
firms.
The fees.
Yes, and they also
that should be interesting.
They also pay the fees. But
imagine auditing an auditor.
But I'm sure if you're following, you would be, hearing about our audit reports, because we go through the normal, scrutiny of the Finance and Public Accounts Committee. And in addition to even being the financial statements being audited, the Auditor General is also mandated to submit his annual activity report that would also showcase how he has utilized those funds. But they've mentioned about our affiliation with other external audit bodies, which also goes to show that we are not just limited at the national level to see how we are doing, but we also have sister bodies that actually will come and then assess what we have done. Like he said, we are part of the AFROSAI, which is the African Organization of English-Speaking Supreme Audit Institutions, likewise the International Organization of Supreme Audit Institutions, and also the Africa without the English-Speaking Supreme Audit Institution. So we undergo a series of assessments that are on different levels in terms of our legal, our independence and our legal frameworks, our communication and stakeholder engagements, even our human resources, as well as organization and even our audit standards and methodology. I had wanted to comment because the caller and what Mr. Drame has mentioned about us considering input from the citizens, just to add that on our website, we actually have a citizen portal, which is like a feedback portal. And that portal is meant to just get feedback from the public. If, like the gentleman has mentioned, they have some areas that they feel the Auditor General should consider. Again, it's not like you propose and it is done. Yes. But if you have something that you think under the public domain that the Auditor General can consider, you can go on this platform and then you send us your feedback, or even just generally on our audit reports in terms of its simplicity and then the use of the languages. And then there was also something about issuing the audit report, the audit opinion. I think what we just wanted to emphasize is even the audit process. It's not like we just come to your institution, we audit, and the next minute we submit a report to you. You are part of the process. Even before we submit the audit reports, we actually sit with you to say, this is what we have found, and then we go through. If you have any response,
in fact,
before we
you often say audit query, and then management
before
response.
We then finally submit that
management
report.
Response. But in some instances, you don't get any management response.
Of course not.
And they still expect you to sit down and wait for them.
But just conclude. At what point we will say, we have given you enough time. We are concluding. Then what we have asserted is what is going to stand. So you'll have an opportunity again, as I said, at the National Assembly, to also give a version.
I understand there's another caller. Hello, caller. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
I'm Mr. Sow. I'm calling from Faraba.
Okay, Mr. Sow.
Yes. I don't believe that audit is an opinion. Audit report is not an opinion. It's a fact. There are realities. Auditing is not a complex thing. Even at home, people audit. You give your wife some money, and then you find out that the deposit is not enough.
What a good analysis.
So it's not an opinion. I'm not an auditor. I did little accounts and economics, but the point is, it's not an opinion. Whoever defines it as an opinion is just trying to do whatever he wants to do, but it's a reality. These are facts. Audit reports are findings of financial management. That's all. Expenditures and all those things. So that's the hard fact.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, caller. I mean, I remember a couple of years ago, 2014, 2015, whilst I was covering Parliament. I mean, at the time, the head of the National Audit Office came to the office. Like you said, the office is now evolving. I mean, it's getting more recognized and respected. By the time he complained about the inadequate resources, which was hampering the work of the NAO. Of course, key among them was issue of mobility. I mean, retaining qualified staff from not going into the private auditing firms. How is the situation right now in your office? Is this in any way affecting the work, or people are now staying and then?
No, thank you very much. I would just want to borrow the words of my colleague here, that resources are never adequate. What we do is, at the year end, we would do our budgets, expecting that this much we need to do this much. But once it is kind of decided that this much we are going to give you, we try to curtail our activities towards that. As he said, it's not what you are going to, the main question should be, the little that you are giving, how efficiently have you utilized that? If you are giving money and you are able to do, for example, you budgeted to do 15 audits, you are giving the money to do 10. Were you able to do 10, or were you able to do 12, or were you able to just do 8? It is efficient when you are able to do more than what you were given. So we still cry about funds at some point, but now, alhamdulillah, if you compare the NAO now and how it was, we are
far apart.
Better resource now in terms of mobility too. Because I think a critical thing would be that we used to be hampered by this, especially when the president is going on tours and so forth.
All your vehicles
are taking. But nowadays, after the intervention of the parliament, we are excluded from that. So our vehicles, the fleet is available for us. Although we sometimes want more, but at least if the ones that we are having, we can still be using them without them being impounded.
Yes,
That's good. So
I understand we're running out of time, but finally, I mean, if you could just share with us, how do you engage your stakeholders? For example, some of the auditors, internal auditors in most of these institutions, and as well, I mean, some of the critical challenges that is facing the office. In summary, because we're running out of time.
Okay. I can start off with the stakeholders, and then my colleagues will come in the challenges. So we recognize that for our work to continue demonstrating relevance, we need to be in constant dialogue with our stakeholders. So this is part of our stakeholder and our communication and stakeholder strategy, which is drawn from our overall strategic plan as an office, which is running from 2020 to 2024. So we have identified these various stakeholders, and they include, I think, on our list would be the National Assembly by virtue of the role that we share with them. But even the executive and the auditees under the executive, civil society, media, as well as the citizens, internal audit you have mentioned, and even the Accountant General Department, because they all have a role to play in the work that we do. So we have identified initiatives, and on top of those initiatives is actually communication initiatives, thereby having constant interaction with them. For the first time last year, we actually had this back-to-back engagement with the auditees across all the MDAs, even the projects. Ariel, you had asked about these different institutions that we audit, even the projects, donor-funded projects, and the likes that the orders that government has counterpart funds in. Yes, so we had a dialogue with them, and I think it's actually paying dividend because we are able to discuss the challenges that we face. And of course, one of them also, this recording audit findings. So just to say we are building on that, we've seen the importance. Even the media, they also play a very important role because they disseminate contents of these audit reports to the citizens. So we also try to build their capacity. Likewise, civil society and also the general public. But maybe my final words would be just to say this we hope would continue. And this particular program that we are running for this week is actually supported by Gambia Participates under the U.S. Embassy funded project, which is strengthening accountability and transparency in the Gambia.
Well,
but we hope that we will do more of it.
Exactly. I'm being told that, but in just 10 seconds, 10 seconds, please.
You know, you spoke about the backlog. So this backlog is connected to the timely and credible submission of financial statements. If you don't submit the financial statement on time or credible, then backlogs continue to...
Thank you so much. Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end to this National Audit Office which is actually meant to raise public awareness and make us better understand the work of the National Audit Office. Our guest on the program today, I have Alaji Drame, who is a Director of Corporate Services. Mr. Drame, it was good to have you on the program. Next to him, I had Sering Mas Jallo, Director Audit. Mr. Jallo, thank you so much for coming on the program. Omar Sabali, Senior Manager, Performance Audit. Thank you so much. And Binta Toure, Communications Specialist. It was good to have all of you on the program. Well, viewers, with that, we bring an end. Do join us another time. Until then, bye-bye from me, Alu Sise, and the entire production team. Ciao.